Hey Ressio users, we're on a cost plus job and I'm going to show you how to create a deposit that can be credited back against your actuals. So first things first, when I go create a deposit, I'm actually going to follow the same workflow I do with other invoices or other actual costs. So I'm going to have a bill here that captures the deposit amount. But in that bill, what's unique here is I'm going to capture both a deposit and a credit. And so this is going to look like a $0 net bill. So it's going to be $100,000 of the deposit and then a $100,000 offsetting credit. I'm going to make sure this code gets assigned to my deposit or invoice code. In this case, 00-Ressio invoice. And I'm going to save, and then I'm going to mark as approved. And so what I'm going to then do is create a new invoice from those actuals. And I am going to capture the invoice for the deposit, and I'm going to remove the invoice for the credit. So in this case, the total deposit for the job is going to be $110,000 inclusive of my 10% markup. So I'll save, release this invoice, and assume the customer pays that full $110,000 deposit. So now I'm going to go back to my budget. And let's say in the future, right, I have a bill that comes in for excavation. Let's say that bill is $30,000. So I'm going to add that excavation bill here for $30,000. And I will save and mark this as approved. So when I go to invoice for that actual bill, what I'm going to do is click invoice here in the top right from actuals. And because I did not invoice for that credit, the offsetting amount on my deposit, that is going to stay here available in my line items to offset any bill amounts. So when I go to bill for or charge for the 502 excavation $30,000 bill, I'm just going to adjust my draw amount for the credit here to be negative $30,000 to offset that associated bill. So I'm pulling from the deposit amount with this credit to offset that bill charge. I'm going to click save. And once again, this is going to be offsetting, so I'm going to have a $0 invoice. The deposit amount is covering the excavation bill that I'm charging my customer. And I'm going to mark this as paid, as it would go through and fully processed for $0. And then back on my budget to kind of see this play all the way through. So I've got my $30,000 actuals associated with excavation on the bill front. If I scroll over to the right, I can see my invoice summary. I've collected $33,000 on excavation. That is the $30,000 plus $3,000 worth of markup, totaling $33,000. And in my Ressio invoice line, I've collected a net amount of $77,000, which is the original $110,000 deposit less the $33,000 that was charged to excavation. So my invoiced amount, my collected amount is accurate in that we've collected $110,000 to date, equivalent to the deposit. And my actuals is accurate in the sense that it represents just that actual bill that was associated with excavation. I can also see this over here on the right-hand side in terms of my budget summary. So this is the recommended path for setting up a deposit for a cost plus build.